Hi guys, in today's video we're going to be learning how to multiply by a decimal number. Now we've got a fairly simple one to start off with here, and when you're talking about very simple ones like this, we can just treat it as a normal multiplication sum. So for instance, I have 0.4 here and I'm going to multiply it by 5. And I just do my standard column multiplication, and that will give me the right answer. So 5 times 4, well that's 20. 5 times 0 is 0, plus the 2 gives me 2. So that does give me the right answer. However, in some cases, when we get slightly more complicated numbers, we might want to use a different method. To do that, we're not going to treat this as 0.4. What we're going to do instead is treat it as just 4. So we're going to do not 5 times 0.4, we're actually, and I'll do this in a different color, we're actually going to do 5 times 4. Now the answer to that is 20. However, 4 is 10 times bigger than 0.4. That means that our answer is 10 times bigger than it should be. So to get the answer that we need then, we're going to have to divide that by 10. So 5 times 0.4, well that's going to be 20 divided by 10, which is going to give us just 2. Now at the moment, that looks like much more work, and I completely get that. It is more work. It's much easier for this sum to just treat it like so. However, for more complicated ones, it's actually more effective to do it this way. So let's look at one of these more complicated ones then. So doing this one as a column sum will actually be a little bit trickier. However, let's not treat this as a 0.2, let's just pretend it's a 2. So what I'm going to do to start with is just 53 times 2. So 2 times 3, 6, 2 times 5, 10. And I get the answer of 106. However, this 2 is 10 times bigger than 0.2. So if 53 times 2 is 106, then 53 times 0.2 is going to be 106 divided by 10. And so the answer we get is 10.6. Now that is mentally much easier to do. So we just multiply 53 by 2 and then divide our answer by 10. Another example then, using the same method, 64 times 0.5. Well, at the moment, let's just pretend that that's a 5. So we're actually going to do 64 times 5, which is much easier to do. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 6 is 30, add the 2, becomes 32. So 64 times 5 is 32. So 64 times 5 is 320. So 64 times 0.5, well that is going to be 10 times smaller. So 320 divided by 10. Therefore our answer is just going to be 32. One final example then, and this one we're dealing with a 2-digit decimal. So instead of treating this like 0.24, let's just pretend it's 24. So 35 times 24. I just follow my standard method for multiplication. So 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 3 is 12. Add the 2, 14. We're now going to multiply everything by 2, but we need to put a 0 down first to make everything 10 times bigger. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 3 is 6, plus the 1, 7. 0 plus 0, 4 plus 0, 1 plus 7. So 35 times 24, we get the answer 840. However, in this case, 24 is 100 times bigger. If we look at the difference here, 24 and 0.24, that's a factor of 100 between them. Everything's moved up 2 decimal places. So we're going to have to divide our answer by 100. So if 35 times 24 is 840, then 35 times 0.24 is going to be 840 divided by 100. Therefore, our answer, we're going to have a decimal point here, it moves 1, 2 places, is going to be 8.4. So that's the method, guys. Basically, anytime you see a decimal, treat it as not a decimal, and then divide it by either a 10 or 100 in order to make it the correct value in the end. So multiply as if it wasn't a decimal, and then divide it to make it into a decimal. Cheers, guys!